The realization that mental acuity does not inevitably decline with age often arrives as a transformative epiphany for those seeking longevity. A sharp, resilient mind remains accessible well into the later decades of life when the biological vessel is treated with precision rather than assumption. The pervasive error lies in the belief that all natural foods act as benevolent agents for health, a misconception that allows hidden inflammatory triggers to accelerate cognitive erosion under the guise of nutrition. Modern dietary habits often prioritize palate satisfaction over physiological necessity, inadvertently fueling the very neural degradation that one hopes to avoid. By distinguishing between the nutritional sources that burden the neurological system and those that actively repair it, a path opens toward sustained clarity and robust memory. This approach moves beyond simple calorie counting to a profound understanding of how specific compounds interact with aging neural pathways. Shi Heng Yi often emphasizes that true mastery begins with the removal of hindrances, and in the realm of physical health, this means eliminating the dietary obstacles that cloud the mind. The sugar trap and neural inflammation, the widespread assumption that fruit is inherently beneficial, often leads to excessive consumption of high-sugar varieties that can wreak havoc on an aging brain. While natural sugars are distinct from processed refined sugars, the physiological response in a body over 60 differs significantly from that of a metabolically flexible youth. Fruits with a high glycemic index, such as dried dates, figs, or commercially processed fruit juices, deliver a rapid influx of glucose and fructose into the bloodstream. This surge forces the pancreas to release significant amounts of insulin to regulate blood sugar levels, a process that becomes less efficient as the body ages. Repeated spikes in insulin can lead to a state of insulin resistance, a condition now so closely linked to cognitive decline that many researchers refer to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes. The brain relies on a steady supply of fuel, but when insulin resistance sets in, neurons struggle to absorb glucose, effectively starving them of energy and leading to cell death and memory lapses. Dried fruits represent a particularly deceptive trap for the health-conscious senior who believes they are making a prudent choice. The dehydration process concentrates the sugar content significantly, turning a handful of raisins or apricots into a metabolic bomb that rivals a candy bar in terms of glycemic load. When a person consumes these concentrated sugars, the liver is overwhelmed by fructose, which promotes the creation of visceral fat and systemic inflammation. This systemic inflammation does not remain contained within the body. It crosses the blood-brain barrier, triggering an immune response in the brain's microglia cells. Chronic activation of these cells damages neurons and inhibits the formation of new memory connections in the hippocampus. From the perspective of self-cultivation that Shi Heng Yi advocates, this biochemical turbulence creates an internal environment of restlessness and fog, making the mental stillness required for clarity impossible to achieve. The consumption of overly ripe bananas and tropical fruits like mangoes or pineapples can also contribute to this inflammatory cascade, if not moderated carefully. As a banana ripens and develops brown spots, its starch converts almost entirely into simple sugars, which absorb rapidly into the bloodstream. For an individual seeking to maintain cognitive sharpness, the immediate burst of energy provided by such fruits is often followed by a precipitous crash. This crash manifests not just as physical fatigue, but as mental lethargy, a state where focus drifts and the ability to recall names or details falters. The brain fog that ensues is often dismissed as a normal symptom of aging, yet it is frequently a direct result of unstable blood glucose levels. Recognizing this pattern requires a level of self-awareness where one observes the body's reactions to food with the same scrutiny a martial artist applies to their form. While the exclusion of these high-sugar fruits might seem restrictive, it serves the higher purpose of preserving the integrity of the mind. There are specific contexts where high-energy fruits serve a purpose, such as immediately following intense physical exertion where glycogen stores need rapid replenishment. However, for the daily rhythm of a senior whose primary goal is vitality and cognitive maintenance. The constant elevation of blood sugar is a burden the body struggles to carry. It becomes necessary to view food not merely as a source of pleasure, but as a biochemical input that dictates the quality of one's thoughts and memories. A person might notice that replacing the morning glass of orange juice with water or tea results in a more sustained attention span throughout the morning. This small adjustment reduces the glycemic load significantly, sparing the brain from the mid-morning slump that disrupts productivity and mood. It is important to acknowledge that the transition away from sweet, comforting foods is physically and psychologically demanding. The body creates a dependency on the dopamine hit provided by sugar, and breaking this cycle requires a period of adjustment where cravings may be intense. This struggle is not a sign of weakness, but a biological reality of withdrawing from a potent stimulus. Shi Heng Yi teaches that the removal of unnecessary burdens is the first step toward lightness of being. In this context, the heavy, sluggish feeling that follows a sugar spike is a burden that weighs down the spirit as much as the body. By choosing to forego the temporary delight of a sugared fig or a ripe mango, one chooses the lasting reward of a mind that remains lucid and responsive. The biochemical process of glycation further compounds the damage caused by high sugar intake in older adults. When excess sugar circulates in the blood, it binds to proteins and fats to form advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds are particularly damaging to the vascular system, stiffening the arteries and reducing blood flow to the brain. Reduced cerebral blood flow is a primary driver of vascular dementia and general cognitive slowing. A diet high in sugary fruits contributes directly to this stiffening, slowly suffocating the brain's delicate network of capillaries. The individual who prioritizes longevity must therefore look beyond the natural label and assess the chemical reality of what they consume. The discipline to select foods that preserve vascular health is an act of self-respect, ensuring that the biological machinery remains capable of supporting a vibrant consciousness. Are my current comforts quietly stealing my future clarity? Neuroprotective agents and cellular repair, in contrast to the fruits that burden the metabolic system, there exists a specific category of fruits that act as potent allies in the preservation of neural function. These fruits are characterized not by their sweetness, but by their complex biochemical profiles, rich in antioxidants, healthy fats, and anti-inflammatory compounds. Berries, particularly blueberries and blackberries, stand at the forefront of this protective arsenal due to their high concentration of anthocyanins. These flavonoids are responsible for the deep blue and purple pigments in the skin of the fruit and possess the remarkable ability to cross the blood-brain barrier. Once inside the brain, anthocyanins seek out and neutralize free radicals, the unstable molecules that cause oxidative stress and damage cellular DNA. For the aging brain, which is naturally more improved to oxidative damage, the regular consumption of these berries acts as a shield, preserving the integrity of neurons and supporting the signaling pathways involved in memory and learning. Avocados offer a different but equally vital form of protection through their abundance of monounsaturated fats. The brain is primarily composed of fat and the myelin sheath that insulates neurons, allowing for rapid signal transmission, relies on a steady supply of healthy lipids to maintain its structure. As people age, the integrity of myelin can degrade, leading to slower cognitive processing and difficulties in retrieving information. Incorporating avocados into the daily diet provides the raw materials necessary to repair and maintain this insulation. Furthermore, avocados contain lutein, a carotenoid that has been linked to improved problem-solving skills and working memory in older adults. Shi Heng Yi often speaks of the body as a vessel that must be fortified to hold the energy of the mind. In this sense, the healthy fats from avocados reinforce the structural integrity of the vessel, ensuring it remains robust enough to support complex thought. The tomato, often culinarily treated as a vegetable but botanically a fruit, offers the powerful antioxidant lycopene. Lycopene has been shown to reduce the risk of stroke and protect against the degradation of brain cells caused by ischemic damage. Unlike water-soluble vitamins, they're flushed from the body quickly. Lycopene is fat-soluble and is best absorbed when a tomato is cooked or eaten with healthy fats. This nuance in preparation highlights the importance of knowledge in the pursuit of longevity. It is not enough simply to eat the right foods, but to eat them in a way that maximizes their biological potential. A person who incorporates cooked tomatoes into their meals is actively reducing the inflammatory load in their vascular system, thereby ensuring that oxygen-rich blood can reach the cognitive centers of the brain without obstruction. This supports a state of alertness and mental endurance that persists throughout the day. Pomegranates provide another layer of defense through their high content of punicalagins, extremely potent antioxidants found in the juice and peel. These compounds inhibit the enzyme responsible for breaking down acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that is critical for memory and attention. In conditions like Alzheimer's, acetylcholine levels drop precipitously, leading to the characteristic symptoms of confusion and memory loss. By preserving the levels of this vital chemical messenger, pomegranates help maintain the electrical connectivity of the brain. The act of extracting the seeds requires patience and effort, a small daily ritual that aligns with the philosophy of mindful action. The reward is a tangible improvement in the brain's ability to retain new information and recall past events with clarity. The transition to a brain-protective diet often involves a shift in how one perceives the purpose of eating. It moves from a pursuit of sensory gratification to a strategic investment in future capability. The person who chooses a bowl of blueberries and walnuts over sweet pastry is making a calculation that values their cognitive independence over a fleeting taste. This internal shift mirrors the discipline required in martial arts, where immediate comfort is sacrificed for long-term mastery. The nutrients found in these protective fruits work silently, repairing damage at a microscopic level that manifests macroscopically as a sharp wit, emotional stability, and the ability to engage fully with life. The cumulative effect of these choices over months and years creates a physiological foundation that resists the erosion of time. There are, however, limitations to the power of nutrition alone. A diet rich in protective fruits cannot entirely undo the damage of a sedentary lifestyle or chronic sleep deprivation. The beneficial compounds in berries and avocados work best when the body is in a state of circulation and rest, allowing the nutrients to be delivered and utilized effectively. It is a holistic system where diet acts as one pillar of support. A counterexample might be an individual who consumes copious amounts of superfoods but lives in a state of high chronic stress. The cortisol produced by stress can negate the anti-inflammatory benefits of the diet. Therefore, the consumption of these fruits must be part of a broader strategy of wellness that includes physical movement and mental rest. The inclusion of citrus fruits like lemons and grapefruits also plays a role in this protective strategy, primarily through their ability to combat systemic acidity and improve insulin sensitivity. While grapefruit interacts with certain medications, a critical detail for many seniors, lemon juice is generally safe and effective at blunting the blood sugar response of a meal. Adding lemon to water or food slows digestion slightly and provides vitamin C, which is essential for preventing the accumulation of amyloid plaques in the brain. These plaques are the sticky protein clumps associated with severe neurodegeneration. By constantly clearing the biochemical debris from the brain, the individual maintains a clean neural environment. This concept of internal hygiene resonates deeply with the principles of clarity and purification, ensuring that the mind remains an open, uncluttered space. What investment am I making today for my mind tomorrow? Metabolic rhythm and the timing of consumption, the impact of fruit on the aging brain is determined not only by the type of fruit consumed, but also by the timing and combination of its ingestion. The human body operates on a circadian rhythm that dictates the efficiency of digestion and hormone regulation throughout the day. As the sun sets, the body's insulin sensitivity naturally decreases, meaning that a sugar load consumed in the evening causes a much higher and longer-lasting spike in blood glucose than the same amount consumed in the morning. For the senior seeking to optimize mental health, Understanding this temporal aspect of metabolism is crucial. Consuming high-sugar fruits as a late-night snack disrupts the production of melatonin and keeps the body in a state of metabolic arousal, preventing the deep, restorative sleep necessary for the brain to clear out toxins accumulated during the day. The glymphatic system, which cleanses the brain of waste products, is most active during deep sleep. If the body is struggling to process a late influx of fructose, the quality of sleep is compromised, and this cleaning process is inhibited. Over time, the accumulation of waste products interferes with neural function, leading to the fog that many attribute to aging but is often a result of poor sleep hygiene linked to diet. Shi Heng Yi emphasizes the importance of rhythm and following the natural order of the day. Eating in alignment with the body's clock means consuming the majority of carbohydrates, including fruits, earlier in the day when the metabolism is most active and the body can utilize the energy for movement and cognitive tasks. Combining fruit with other macronutrients is another strategy that fundamentally alters the metabolic response. Eating fruit on an empty stomach can cause a rapid rise in blood sugar, whereas pairing it with a source of protein or healthy fat slows the absorption of glucose. For example, eating an apple alone results in a quicker spike than eating an apple with a handful of almonds or a slice of cheese. The fiber in the fruit and the fat in the nuts create a matrix in the stomach that releases sugar gradually into the bloodstream. This stable release provides a steady stream of energy to the brain rather than a chaotic surge, supporting sustained concentration. This approach transforms the act of eating from a passive intake of calories to a strategic fueling of the system. One must also consider the digestive capacity, which tends to weaken with age. Raw fruits, while nutritious, can be difficult for some seniors to digest, leading to bloating and discomfort that distracts from mental focus. In traditional Chinese medicine, excessively raw and cold foods are seen as dampening the digestive fire, which is the source of the body's energy or qi. If the digestive system is overburdened, energy is diverted away from the brain to aid in digestion, resulting in post-meal drowsiness. Lightly steaming certain fruits or consuming them at room temperature rather than cold can make them more compatible with a slower digestive system. Listening to the body's subtle signals, the feeling of heaviness or lightness after a meal, allows the individual to tailor their diet to their unique constitution. A reflective point arises when one observes the automatic habits that govern eating. Many people eat fruit out of habit or because it is presented as a healthy dessert, without considering their current state of hunger or energy needs. The practice of mindfulness involves pausing before consumption to ask if the body truly requires this energy source. This pause breaks the automaticity of behavior and allows for a conscious choice. It is in this space of choice that health is reclaimed. By refusing to eat simply because food is available, the individual asserts control over their biology. The concept of bioindividuality implies that what works for one person may not work for another. Some individuals may have a high tolerance for natural sugars due to genetics or a lifetime of activity, while others may need to be extremely strict. Monitoring one's own cognitive response to different fruits is the only way to determine the optimal diet. If a specific fruit consistently leads to a feeling of sharpness and vitality, it is a true food for that individual. If another leaves them feeling sluggish or anxious, it is a poison, regardless of its nutritional profile. This empirical approach puts the power back in the hands of the individual, treating the body as a laboratory for longevity. Hydration is often overlooked in discussions of fruit and memory. Many fruits, such as watermelon and cantaloupe, are primarily water, but they also carry a significant sugar load. While hydration is essential for brain function, obtaining it through high-sugar fruits can be counterproductive for those with insulin resistance. It is often more effective to hydrate with water and herbal teas and look to lower-sugar fruits for fiber and antioxidants. The balance is delicate and requires constant tuning. As the seasons change, so too do the body's needs. Eating seasonally, heavy, warming foods in winter and lighter, cooling foods in summer, helps maintain the body's equilibrium with the environment, a core tenet of holistic health that supports mental adaptability. Does my schedule support my digestion or disrupt it? Cultivating clarity through conscious selection, the journey toward a brain-protective diet is ultimately a journey of self-mastery. The realization that specific fruits can either erode memory or fortify the mind places a significant responsibility on the individual. It is no longer possible to plead ignorance. The choice becomes a deliberate action taken multiple times a day. This process of selection is not merely about avoiding illness, but about actively constructing a reality where the mind remains a sharp, effective tool for navigating the world. The discipline required to say no to the sugary comforts that culture pushes upon seniors is an expression of strength. It signals a commitment to a higher standard of living, where the quality of one's consciousness is prioritized above momentary pleasure. Shi Heng Yi's teachings remind us that the external state is a reflection of the internal state. A body inflamed by sugar and deprived of essential nutrients cannot house a peaceful, focused mind. The agitation caused by metabolic imbalance mirrors the agitation of an untrained mind. By calming the biological storms through proper nutrition, one creates the physiological conditions necessary for mental stillness and insight. The protective fruits, the berries, the avocados, the tomatoes, become the building blocks of this new internal architecture. They are the materials with which one repairs the vessel, ensuring it can withstand the passage of time without crumbling. This new lifestyle requires the establishment of new rituals. The morning routine might shift from a sugary breakfast to one rich in healthy fats and antioxidants, setting a tone of stability for the day. The evening routine might involve a fasting window that allows the brain to clean itself during sleep. These habits, once established, cease to be chores and become the foundations of a vibrant life. The initial resistance fades, replaced by the tangible reward of waking up with a clear head, remembering names with ease, and engaging in complex conversations without fatigue. The fear of decline is replaced by the confidence of capability. It is crucial to approach this transformation with compassion for oneself. There will be days of imperfection, social gatherings where choices are limited, and moments of craving. These are not failures, but parts of the human experience. The goal is not rigid perfection, but a consistent trajectory toward health. Each meal is a new opportunity to choose protection over damage. The resilience of the human body is profound. Even after years of suboptimal eating, the introduction of neuroprotective foods can initiate repair and improvement. The brain retains plasticity, the ability to change and adapt well into old age, provided it is given the right resources. Ultimately, the decision to curate one's diet is an act of legacy. A healthy, cognizant senior is a resource to their family and community, a keeper of wisdom and history. By protecting one's memory, one preserves the stories and lessons that define a life. The vitality gained from this discipline allows for active participation in the lives of grandchildren, the pursuit of new hobbies, and the continued growth of the spirit. The path of longevity is not just about adding years to life, but about adding life to years, ensuring that the final chapters are written with the same clarity and vigor as the ones that came before. Am I feeding my wisdom or starving it?